Good evening and welcome to another NTX live stream. You can see I've cleared everything behind me today because I've got a couple of demonstrations to give. Now we are going to Freefest and next week, so we'll be diving in the sea. And we've been diving quite a lot in the lakes, especially for the last few months while we haven't been allowed out of the country. But we have been going to the lakes. And we've been using, oh, my hair's doing crazy things. So we've been using ropes quite a lot. And I thought that it was a good time to talk about ropes and rope safety and how we use them, and how we, the safety side of ropes. So this isn't about competition ropes, this is safety ropes. Now, one thing that I must mention that everybody, there's no reason why anybody would dive without a knife or a line cutter. In fact, a line cutter is much better. So line cutters are kind of hook. You can buy them on Amazon or any of the dive centres, dive shops. They cost something, from 10 quid to like 80 quid. But 10 quid ones are absolutely fine. And hopefully you'll put it on your weight belt and you will never use it. That's the hope. I hope you waste 10 quid or 20 quid. I really hope you waste it on buying a line cutter. If you get caught in fishing line, when you're diving, free diving especially, you are in all sorts of trouble. And a line cutter is a hook, and you can cut through fishing line. They're super sharp. You just cut through fishing line. Some of the better line cutters have a serrated edge, so you can cut through rope in case you get entangled with a rope. But there's no excuse for not having a line cutter or a knife on your belt, just in case. All NTX instructors have line cutters and knives as a matter of their basic equipment, but there's no reason why everybody shouldn't kind of have one. Okay, so that's as a maybe. That's not as a maybe. That's done. Okay. Let's talk about ropes and buoys. So I have here a standard freediving buoy. You may have seen them before. Interesting thing to note is that it's got the upgrade on it, the tensioning upgrade, and there's no reason why you wouldn't, if you had a dive buoy, why you wouldn't put this upgrade in it. It stops the buoy sagging, so when you're coming up, pulling on the rope, pulling on the buoy, it doesn't bounce. It's a lot more solid. So again, safety. And in fact, I'm going to show a quick video it's on YouTube. The link will be in the description. Let's turn the music off. Should I start it again? No, it's pretty self-explanatory. So very, in fact, no, come on, it's only a minute long. Let's go for it again. So very simple. So this is a buoy, a standard dive buoy with 9 kilos. You can see how much it's being dragged down and sagging. And with 20 kilos, it's sagging quite a lot. So there's a good, 20, 30 centimeters of movement every time you pull. And this is it with it modified. With 20 kilos hanging on it, there's no movement at all. Very simple. All you need is a long scuba weight belt and a small piece of rope. All you do is you thread the rope through the vents or the drainage holes and clip the carabiner onto the rope and the normal D-ring. And on the inside, just put the belt around the bladder and then tighten the rope around the belt like this. Any knot would do. And then when you're pulling on the bottom of it, the actual weight belt takes the weight on the top of the buoy. So here it is again. This is the sag with 9 kilos, and this is the sag with 12 kilos. No sag at all. Okay, so this means every time you pull up from the bottom of the rope, it will be super tight. No sag, no bounce. Okay, there's no reason why you shouldn't be doing that to a buoy. I don't know why they don't do it standard. Actually, I know some people have put a piece of disc, wood or plastic on the top to do the same thing, but it's not necessary. So this is a double V cross that I've got, and a modified section here. So this is your dive buoy. You have it hanging. Now, one way, or the old way of doing things, would you just clip a carabiner on with a rope attached, okay? And this works. It works, and it's still valid to, if you're just doing shallow dives and you're not doing anything particularly technical. But a much better way of doing it, much better way of doing it, would be to have the carabiner hanging up this way. If you're caving, this is the right way up. If you're a climber, it's upside down. And very simple knot. Okay, it's a clove hitch. So this rope goes behind like this, and this rope goes behind like this, and then all I'm doing is putting them in front of each other. Okay, and you just clip this on to the buoy like this. Okay, now the joy of this is you don't need the end of the rope. So if the end of the rope is tied onto another buoy or onto the boat, or tied off inside the buoy as a safety, then that's absolutely fine. You can do the clove hitch there. Or if you've got two depths you're gonna use in one session, you can do a clove hitch here and knot it off, and then do another one at a different depth. And the joy of this is it never gets tight. But if you want to move the rope up, you can just feed it through like this, and then put it through like this. I don't know if you saw that. So put it through here, and then just put it through on the other one. So if somebody takes the weight, and you can do that. So you can move the rope, the bottom weight up and down very easy. And then when you're finished, you just unclip it. Okay, that's the classic way of doing it. It still works, it's still good, doesn't need any equipment, just needs a carabiner, which you should have if you've got a dive buoy anyway. Then some very sensible people came up with this piece of kit. So this is an octopus rope puller, and basically the rope goes through it, so you have to set up beforehand. You can't just clip it in if you're halfway down a rope. And the rope does not go through unless you release it and it moves through. On the other hand, if you pull it this way, it always moves. So you can always pull the rope up, making the rope shallower, but it will never, sorry, when it's under tension, that is, it won't go down. Okay, so when it's under tension, it doesn't go down unless you pull this and then it moves. So if you want to let the rope down, you just hold this and the rope goes down, and then when you're finished, you just pull up the rope like this. Okay. Beautiful piece of equipment. This one happens to be by Octopus. At the bottom of the rope, we have a safety stopper, which if you're using a lanyard will stop the lanyard. If you're not using a lanyard, it will help you feel where it is. Now you'll notice this rope hasn't got what they call a candy cane, because it's not a competition rope, it's just one of our general diving ropes. Underneath the safety stopper used to be a tennis ball, but again, for £5 or whatever it costs for an octopus stopper. You might as well have one of these. It's a lot more, it's not going anywhere basically, very easy to use. Then we have a plate. Now again, this is not a competition rope, but if it was a competition rope, you might see some tags on it, etc. But this isn't a competition rope. All it is, it stops you from going near the bottom where the weights will be hanging. Okay, so you go down to this point, you don't need to go any further. But when you're looking down the rope, you see a nice white disc that kind of sees where you are. Okay, so this is a standard rope safety system. Stop the lanyard going down. You don't want the lanyard going any further than this, because you don't want the lanyard getting caught under here, and you don't want anything or your hands and stuff to get close to the heavy ropes or lanyards to get tangled up. Okay, so that's a standard dive buoy. But what happens if you're diving like we do in a lake and the rope isn't going down from the buoy, it's coming up from the bottom? So on the surface of the lake you have a buoy, and you've got a rope that's tied off to the bottom of the lake. Well, in this scenario, you definitely wouldn't use a lanyard. There's no need to use a lanyard, and effectively, if the lanyard got tangled, you are attached to the bottom of the lake, which is not a good scenario. So you wouldn't use a lanyard when the rope is attached to the bottom of the lake. Okay, or the bottom of the sea. Some people have buoys set up at sea. That's it. That's fine. So obviously it's usually a bit bigger than this, but this kind of gives you an idea of what it is. But there's another danger with these ropes. One, the lanyard, which you don't want to be using on a bottom secured rope. Yeah, but also if it's not tight. In other words, if especially if it's at sea with the tides, it's going to go up and down, or if in the lake and the lake water goes up and down, this could be loose. So what we use is a very, very similar system to the octopus system, but it's a caving ascender. Okay, so a piece of kit, we call it a rope tensioner. We call it rope tensioner because that's what we use it for. And if I say to somebody, hey, can you pass me the ascender, they'll go, what's an ascender? But a rope tensioner is pretty obvious what it does. Okay, and it clips on here, and all we do is we feed the rope through this, like this, clip it shut, and again we can pull it, only goes through one way. Okay, so we can tension the rope, stand on it, give it a bit of tension. So when it's fully tight, it keeps the rope tight, and when we want to release it, we can have to jiggle this and release it like this. Okay. Now, the reason you can't do the octopus system on a buoy is because it's tied off, and when you get out of the lake at the end of the session, you want to be able to leave the buoy where it is, take your tensioner and go to the next buoy. Okay? So this means you can put the rope in without untying the rope off the buoy. So a short session today just to go through some safety ideas about ropes and buoys. Any questions, as always, put them in the questions in the comments, and I'll get back to you. I think that's pretty much it. Don't forget, get yourself a line cutter or a knife, and if you want a rope tensioner, I'll put a link in the description of the video, and also that little video. Sorry? Questions. Oh, I've got questions apparently. Hang on a sec. I can't see the questions. Oh, I know I can't see the questions. it says they may not be visible. So apparently I've got questions, but I can't see them, unfortunately. Why can't I see the questions? Oh wow, there's loads of questions, or loads of comments. Ingenious idea, buoy will last longer. You made the water bottle float. Okay, I think that's it pretty much.
I can read you the questions.
And I've got them here. I've got them as a pop-up. There's not actually any questions.
Yeah, right at the top about lanyards.
Oh yeah. Talk about lanyards. Do you think it's okay to make a DIY one? Do you think the 50-60 euro price on lanyards is reasonable? Wow. Okay. Right. Lanyards. Now, when I was in Nice, so it must have been 2003. We were diving without lanyards. Lanyards didn't exist, and Guillaume was trying this crazy idea of tying a piece of rope around his wrist and a carabiner on the rope, and they were saying it's fantastic. He's never going to kind of disappear off the rope, and it was fantastic, and everybody was thinking this was going to be the way forwards. And we all went to the local climbing shop, bought a length of rope, tied a hangman's noose at one end, and put it on our wrist, and tied a figure of 8 onto a carabiner, and clipped that onto the rope. And the very next day, Guillaume came up from a really deep dive, and he was out of breath, and they were typically, oh no, you went too deep, you're out of breath, you shouldn't have gone that deep, ha ha ha. And he went, no, hang on a sec. Got his breath back and went, the lanyard got tangled, so I had to undo the locking carabiner, take it off, and then come back up. And everybody kind of went, yeah, that's not good, is it? That's not a good thing to do. So we all went back to the same climbing shop that we'd been to the day before, and got spring gate carabiners as opposed to locking ones. Okay, so the spring gate, I haven't got one here, but the spring gate one can't lock. Okay, so you always unclip it, and worked out a quick release method on the wrist. So that was the development of lanyards. Took one day. So a quick release on the wrist and a non-locking carabiner. So effectively you can make your own. That is essentially it. A metre long piece of rope, carabiner one end, and some sort of quick release on the other end. And I will say, I have done a live stream about lanyards. Oh, hang on. Here's a spring gate carabiner. Look at that, to show you what a spring gate carabiner looks like. I have done a live stream about lanyards, and the ones with a the spinnaker shackle, but you pull it and it comes away with a rope, is really dangerous, and I kind of really recommend you don't get one of them. You would a spinnaker shackle the other way around, where you pull the spinnaker shackle and the spinnaker shackle stays on your wrist and the rope goes away. That's a much safer way of doing it. Some people have a Velcro, which works. That's quick release, and it's as long as the Velcro's in good condition. Would I buy one 50-60 euros? Yes, I would, as long as it's the kind of right way, because you don't want just a piece of rope. You need it stiffened. Okay, otherwise it kind of wraps around. And the knot at the end of the carabiner, figure of 8 will save your life in a dire emergency, but it's not going to be the best way to connect the rope to the carabiner. So maybe I'll get a couple of lanyards up next week and go through them and show them. But really, for €50, you're only going to buy one, effectively. Yeah, absolutely buy one. The other thing is the Velcro ones, they're all the interchangeable size, so you can wear it on your ankle, you can lend it to your friend, it's all very, very good. When I was working with Herbert, however, we found the rope was too thick and it caused too much drag and slowed him down, especially when he was doing his no-fins. So no-fins depth records. It was actually slowing him down noticeably. So we used a thinner and thinner lanyard rope until we just used effectively a fishing line. It was white, you could see it. It wasn't like invisible fishing line, but it was super thin, and it just glid through the water and didn't affect him. So when you're gliding next to the rope, the lanyard can kind of make you tilt slightly, to pull you into the rope. But we're effectively using a fishing line to make it hydrodynamic. Crazy times though. But I wouldn't suggest you do that. Unless you're going for a world record, in which case do anything you need to safely get that record. Okay, I think that's it. I will answer any other questions if you put them in the comments, and I shall see you next week, hopefully, because we'll be at FreeFest, so hopefully I'll have signal enough to do a live stream from FreeFest. But yeah, otherwise, thanks a lot. Good night.